You don't realize how blind I'm getting.
What if she, hey, how bad is it if she keeps her glasses on? Because she can't see the photo really bad. No. It's really bad.
Just ask.
Okay. Well, we can just, maybe you can just go.
Hold those for sure. Get like a deep picture.
These two are good. Okay.
Start with?
I think we should start, with the younger ones?
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Wait. Is it going? Okay.
Can you look at this one?
Oh, yeah, that was in my high school days. There were 9 of us girls that ran around together, and we always was doing something. One night we had a smoke out so who could smoke the most. Church of Christ preachers won. His daughter.
So what were you doing?
I don't know. We were just goofing around. I was in a swimsuit.
Was that in Henrietta?
Yeah.
What about this one? Was that similar?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was one of the proms I was going to. One of the proms there at Henrietta. Probably senior prom.
Let's see. So tell us about when you met Papa and how all that
Well,
went out.
a bunch of us girls came over to Bowie and went to the rodeo, and afterwards, you know where the senior citizen is?
Mm-hmm.
Where they have the senior citizen center. He was up there, and we met there at the senior citizen. But back then, it wasn't senior citizen. It was just something.
But what's the part where you thought he was the ugliest kid? And then...
Oh, we used to play basketball. See, Henrietta girls would play Bowie, and then Bowie would play the boys, and we were playing on the stage up there. And I'd see him zip up and down the court. And of course, he was about like this, you know, and he had about like this. And I always thought, well, that's the ugliest kid I ever did see. Then I ended up marrying him. Shoot.
So he told us about when he proposed to you, it was...
On horses at the Grand Entry?
We went with Dick Allen and his wife, her name was Darlene, over to Denton to the rodeo. That's what he... Well, I don't think he proposed over there. I think he proposed before then because we went to Wichita to get the ring before we went to Denton. Duh, Bob. He's got that story messed up. Yeah, we did. You and I went to Wichita and got the ring first. Oh, after that. Oh, well.
Were you surprised?
Well, no. Nothing really surprises me.
It seems like he likes to buy you your jewelry.
Rings, yeah, he does. He's got good taste.
So, all 3 of your kids asked, what's the secret to almost 60 years of marriage?
Headstrong. Like I tell Tess, we're pioneer women. You know, pioneer women could withstand anything.
Yep. So, I know you and Granny used to go and feed all the men. Like, tell us a little bit about
Oh, gosh,
how all
yes.
that...
We used to cook. Well, there'd be about 12 men when they was working cattle and all, and we'd cook chicken, and a lot of times she'd fix ice cream, and we'd fix beans and potatoes and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, Granny had to fix a pie or cake or two. And then we'd take them out there. I know one time we were going out to the home place to take all the food, and here come Marvin, and Bob was in the back end rolling around. The horse had fell with him, and so we had to take the food on out and leave it and then come back to the hospital. But we've gone as far as like Crowell, and I don't know. We went up to Crowell one time, and we pulled up out there, and I said, no, it wasn't Crowell. I'm sorry, it was at Weatherford. And I said, where is Bob Jr.? I don't know. I hadn't seen him since this morning. I said, Bob Brashear. Well, in a little bit here, he wasn't about 8. Well, he's about like Si. Here he come riding up. I said, where have you been? I've been chasing this cow. Then one time he took Jan with him to Fort Worth with a load of cattle. Coming back, he went to sleep and run over all these reflectors. That was her last trip to Fort Worth.
Any with Lance?
No, Lance, he didn't remember the home place. No, I guess they maybe had already sold it by then or whatever.
So how often would y'all take the food?
Every time they worked cattle. I know when Bob and Rick Roderick got into the cattle business and they had to go up to Crowell, well, I'd fix food myself and take it up there. And he told Bob, he said, just make them take a sack lunch. But you know, when you work cattle all day, you don't have to eat a cold sandwich.
Tell us about how you met JFK.
Oh, gee. Well, I went with it.
That's Chance's question.
Yeah, I went with this group of women here from Bowie that was Young Democrats. It was Shirley Posey and Lana Rodericks and Catherine McManus and myself. And there might have been one or two others. And we went to Wichita Falls, and he and Johnson flew in up there, and we got to shake hands with them, and then we got to listen to them speak and all. But see, I was used to that because my daddy used to take us to Fort Worth whenever Roosevelt would come in down there, and we'd listen to him talk. So he was a staunch Democrat and married into a Democrat, and there you go.
What is the story about where you always say, give me a map and I'll go anywhere? You went to some...
Well, when I first got married, see, I had never driven very much. I didn't get my driver's license until I was 18. Back then, you couldn't get them early. And so I'd only driven like in Wichita Falls a time or two. Well, first thing we did when we married, moved to Houston. Well, I went out to look for a job and I got lost. So after that, I got a map, like I say. One time we flew to Alabama and to a big cattle sale, and it was out in the middle of the country. I mean, middle of nowhere. And this lady, she knew it was going to go all day and all night. And she said, now, if you want to go somewhere, I said, you can drive my car. She just got a new Cadillac. So I said, you got a map? So here I went.
How is it that they bought 5 Cadillacs at
one time? I don't know when they bought them. They had picked me out of blue one. So when we got up there, here was this white one with red leather interior, and I told Bob, I said, oh, I've got to have that. So I think we had to pay like $137 difference or something of it. But I got my white Cadillac. That was back in about 73, 74, because I know we drove it to state meet in 74. It might have been about 73 when he bought them.
So, Papa was saying how eventually, like, you guys started, like, traveling a lot of places. So, what was your experience with that? I know he was, like, looking at the cows and doing all that, but what were you?
Well, he would come in, he said, I've got to go so-and-so. Well, I had like 5 minutes to pack, but I just got in the habit of, I was packed and ready to go. And to keep myself occupied, I kept some kind of needlework in 2 or 3 bags, and I'd take it with me. And sometimes I'd sit for hours and hours and hours. But one of the funniest things is that he didn't tell. He was always late going everywhere. Everywhere he went to, he was late. I said, Bob, quit telling people you'll be there in an hour when it takes 2 hours to get there. Oh, they'll wait on me. So evidently, he got several tickets. So he went before the judge that morning. We was going to, was it Weatherford, Bob? We was going to Weatherford, I think. Or Brownwood. We was going to Brownwood that morning. Anyway, he went before the judge, and he said, now, if you get another ticket, he said, I'm going to have to take your driver's license away from you. Well, I drove going over there. And, of course, 55 me. Here I was going 55 miles an hour. Coming back, he said, let me drive. So anyway, he got over there, and we had no more than gotten hardly out of town. Here this cop, here he comes. This is back in my skinny days, and I run in behind him. I said, get over, don't you dare say a word. So I got over the driver's seat, and he got in there and pulled his hat down. And I told the policeman, I said, well, I had my cruise on, and I said, I guess it was gaining. I don't know. I'll give him this sob story. So he didn't give me a ticket. Otherwise, he wouldn't have had a driver's license for a while there. He forgot that story.
What's the story about, you were talking about earlier that you used to go down to Fort Worth all the time, and I remember when you were saying when you were little, they would take you down there and you'd get like a...
Oh yeah, well my family's from Fort Worth. My daddy came from a big family. There was 14 kids. They had a big 2-story house down there. And some of his family farmed there where the DFW was. They used to farm all of that land. Well, his uncles did, farmed all that land. And so every Saturday we'd just go to Fort Worth, and they'd turn us out on the streets just like you was at Bowie, We'd run up and down the streets and go to Leonard's, look at the little alligators and eat hot dogs and all. And then we'd go out to the zoo that afternoon, and Daddy'd buy a gallon of banana nut ice cream, and everybody had a spoon and eat out of the banana nut ice cream. That's what we did on the weekends. And he used to always trade cars with this one guy called Mr. Jeter. Remember that Jeter's going to Fort Worth?
Yeah.
Probably some kin to the guy that sold Jeter cars.
So you used to tell a story about that you weren't allowed to cash a check at a bank.
Oh, we were going to Wichita with Marvin and Bess one day. Well, Marvin got about halfway up there, got up to him, and he said, "Oh, I haven't got enough money." And I said, "Well, I'll go into the bank here and cash it." So we stopped there at Henrietta, and I went in to cash Marvin's check. And if you didn't have an account there, they wouldn't cash it. So I come back out, and I said, "They wouldn't cash your check." "You tell them SOBs, I'll just buy them out. I'll just buy them out." I started saying, "Marvin, you go tell them." Shoot.
Here's a picture of you and Granny.
Oh yeah, this was way back then. This is when Bobby and all of them were, friends with Steve Gibbs, and I know we used to always load up with Linda Ruth and Cynthia Carpenter and them and go to spend the night at Six Flags, and Steve Gibbs, and this was back then when he was probably second or third graders. They wasn't very old. We bowled and all, but we haven't bowled since then. I think I still got my bowling ball in my shoes. Or did you get them?
I don't know. I have one of Granny's bowling balls. But
When is this and where is this? We love that one.
Gosh, I can't see it. Wait a minute. Hold on a minute. Oh, that's when we got engaged that day.
Oh, that's cool.
Over at Denton. And I've got one picture of us on the horses. Did y'all not get a picture of it? It's somewhere or another floating. It's somewhere or another floating around. That's back my skinny day.
So tell us about this day.
Oh, the day we got married. I know. That was. I see. I worked for these two lawyers. That one there is one of the Donald brothers. Sudduth brothers from Henrietta. One of them was a county attorney. The other one was a district attorney, and I worked for them. And then some of these other people there are Bowie people. There's Audie Milton Jackson. He was something else. Bob Paul could tell you a lot of stories about him.
what about? Were you living in Houston when Bob Jr. was born?
I know it. And Granny come down there. She said, "Now you be sure that when you wake up, when you have him, you look at him. We don't want to get him mixed up." I said, "I don't think you can get him mixed up." Yeah, we were at a basketball game, and my pain started, so we had to get up and leave. Of course, they had to announce over there in the column that we was going to the hospital. Then the next day, they had to announce that we'd had a boy,
So did you have Jan and Lance
here in Bowie,
here in Bowie?
at the old hospital, not the new, downtown, right there where the auditorium is, or where the police station is. That's where it used to be.
How long were you in Houston?
From 54 to 56, we came back in 56. I know the graduation day, Bob Jr., he bawled and squalled and bawled. I had to get up and be walking around while they was having all the commencement.
What was it like moving from Henrietta to Houston?
Oh, gosh. Well, we were down there one time at Houston. We went downtown to a movie, and coming back, I saw this car go zoom like this, and I never did see this car here, and he hit this car here, and he killed the man, and there was one child that was thrown clear behind us, and then one thrown up underneath our car. And we found out later after we came back that they would write us and ask us if we'd come back down there to testify, in the case and all. And finally they found out we would, and so they, I guess, settled out of court. But anyway, that's back then you had to go way downtown.
What would you say it was like to be a part of all of them, or just to be around whenever they were having all of the, just so much cattle business going on?
Well, I thought it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. And all one time Papa said, "Well, I didn't enjoy it that much." And I said, "Well, I did. I thought it was like, that was all we knew." And so I jumped in and helped them just like they did. Like when we'd go up in Oklahoma, it'd be ice, sleeting and snowing, and I would help them. It'd be just me and Bob that'd go up there, and we'd help them get all the cattle in. I know one time we drug poor little Lance up there, and he had the Montezuma's Revenge, and he was sick. But that's all we ever knew was cattle business, so I enjoyed it. But they worked, Bob and them would work like 7 days a week, for like 15 hours a day.
What was it you talked about, like Wendy Ryan going down?
Oh yeah, we'd go down there. Well, we took Jennifer went with us one time. She was about like Tess, and Bob was buying him these boots and caps and hats and all this. And she looked up at him. She said, "Well, Papa, don't you think I need a pair of boots?" And I bought this turquoise bracelet, and so he gave me the ring that went with it. But that's the only place we knew where Western clothes were. We didn't know any place else.
What about like going to Ruidoso, like with the Kecks and the?
Oh,
your
yeah, we used to have
family?
more fun out there. We'd 2 or 3 couples would go together out there, and then we'd all rent a house, you know, and all have a big time. Of course, all the men, they love the horse racing and all.
What was that one photo where you're in like this booth? I think with the Swents. Was it in
Oh,
Vegas, or?
we went to Vegas with Dr. Porter and his wife, and the Swents went out there and I forget who we saw perform out there. Who do we see perform, Bob? I don't know this. Yeah, Engelbert. Oh, we also saw Wayne Newton. I loved him.
What else? What was that? Yeah.
Oh, I think that was at the State Fair, wasn't it, Bob? Yeah, that was at the State Fair. We went down to the State Fair. I always loved to go see all the quilt shows. He'd go see all the cattle and all.
Tell us what it was like.
Oh, there you go. Oh, I got it sideways.
What you remember, maybe a memory about each of your kids when they were little.
Mm-hmm. Well, I could always tell what they were interested in, but the books they read. Bob would have his set of books, and Jan would have hers, and Lance would come along, and I said, "Now, Lance, we've already got that book. I know me, my mother, but I want one myself." And they were all, you know, still real good readers and interested in reading.
Still are.
Yeah. Oh, put my glasses on. Told you I couldn't see without them.
I think.
So they were talking, Jennifer asked Papa earlier, since you were sort of married into the family, she was talking about how the Brashears all sort of came and found themselves in this area. What do you think it means to be a Brashear?
Got to be strong.
Yeah, for sure. That hasn't changed. Is there any like memorable stories that we hadn't like brought up so far? I mean, Papa said he thought we covered just about everything.
We used to always have water fights out there. Get the water guns. Everybody had water guns, and we was always having water fights outside.
Out at
Your house?
Yeah. When the kids were little and all, you know. But I guess the scariest thing was the rattlesnakes that was out there. I know one time we came home from Marvin, we'd been sick and all, and we came out there and we had that old biting dog named Red. And the rattlesnake had got in between the bicycles and all, so Bob pulled the bicycles out of the way, and that dog jumped in there and killed that rattlesnake, and he whipped him to death, you know, like that. Then another time I came out the back door and the rattlesnake was coiled up right by the back door, and I guess I'd stepped over it going out to feed the dogs, and I had to bang on the window and make Bob come out the front door to come kill it. And we had lots of rattlesnakes down at the tank and all, you know.
What was the story? There was like an elevator. Was it up with all those zoo animals? That there was a.
Oh, out Mildred and
rattlesnake in
Weldon's.
the
I mean,
elevator.
Mildred and Weldon's, they had an elevator in their house. Yeah. Now what?
Lame calf. The calf named.
Oh, yes. Jennifer had a black calf, and she named it John Wayne. And he thought he was a dog because, you know, we raised him from real little, and he'd sit around the back porch with the dogs, and they'd lick on each other and all. And after he got bigger and all, we had to take him up and put him in another pasture. And then he tried to crawl through the fence. He still thought he was a dog. Wherever they went out in the pasture, that's where he went. But that was your calf.
Since you and Papa were both teachers, did y'all share a lot of like stories with each other about that? And
Well, see, he taught the high school. He liked the teenage level. Now, I didn't like the teenage level. I liked like 4th grade. I loved that because they still love their teacher. And there was lots of, you know, we taught Texas history, and I had lots of art to go along with and I don't know, I taught third grade for about 13 years, and then I went up to fourth grade, and I really liked it. I taught second grade 1 year, but now junior high.
How old were you when you decided to go and
Become a teacher.
Become a teacher?
Well, I always wanted to go, but Mother and Daddy couldn't afford to send me. So when I got 30, I started driving to Wichita Falls 2 days a week, and I'd put the kids on the bus at 8 o'clock, and I had to be up there at 9:30. Then when I'd get it off and be back home at 4 o'clock, and they'd come in on the bus at 4 o'clock. And Bess kept Lance for 2 years. But it took me, I could have got through in 4 years, but it took me 5 years. I laid out 1 semester. I got kind of burnt out, you know. But I'd always wanted to be a teacher.
And how long were you a teacher?
29 years.
29. And Papa was 19?
About 20, I think. About 20. I think it was about 20, yeah.
What was your favorite age to teach? Because I know you taught like a lot of
Fourth grade level,
fourth grade.
yeah.
I always thought it was third.
They still love their teacher. They still try to please you. And they still try to, you know, the parents stand behind you. When they get in junior high, they know it all. I don't have to do that. I asked one in junior high one time, I said, what do you like about junior high? You don't have to stand in line. You know how you line up to go to the bathroom and line up to change glasses? Oh, shoot. But anyway, is that the end gate? Remember the end gate, Jennifer?
Yeah.
I know in this picture there's a story about Bobby cutting.
Oh, Jennifer's hair, yes.
Jan's hair.
Jan's hair. Well, she never did have much hair to begin with when she was born. You know, she hardly had any hair. And then when she got about 1.5 years, we came in one day and he'd just whacked her to the, you know, up against the head. So I'd take her up Burgess to get it trimmed up. And there's a picture somewhere or another. I had him to reenact it, showing where he'd cut her hair, you know. There's a picture floating around somewhere of this.
I think we found it.
Did you?
Yeah. What made you and Papa decide to start selling art? Like just one day or?
Well, we'd always loved art, and when we went to Rio Dosa, they had a Fenton's and Gallery out there, and Papa got really interested in G. Harvey. And so the first picture we bought, we paid $125 for it, and it was framed. And then we went found out down at his gallery in Fredericksburg, it was worth $4,500. But Papa, the guy that had it, he got where he collected saddles. So Papa would gather up saddles, and we'd take them out there and trade it for the art. And then we got into, I don't know, and then each one of the kids had their own art that they loved, you know. Lance liked Picasso and things like that. And Jan likes the lady over at St. Joe, and then Bob Jr. has his mountain men that he likes. But I don't know, we've just always liked art, you know. We go to a lot of galleries and all and check it out. But we've done real well in the art business. We have people keep trying to get us to sell these other artists. I said, our clientele likes 3 artists, and that's all we're carrying.
What was the story earlier you were telling about Coke Gage and what did you say he carried around?
He carried around a little black, I don't even know if you'd call it attaché case. It was some kind of little black case, and it'd be full of diamonds, you know, and that's how we bought this off.
How did you meet him?
Well, the Brashears had connections with him and all. That's how we knew him. Of course, whoever came up here, you know, we were friends with them.
With him?
Yeah. I don't know why he sent us one time down to this jeweler's down there in Dallas. I don't know why he sent us down there. I forget what we did down there, and they had lots of jewelry.
So did you ever go up to the second Monday?
Oh, yeah, every second Monday we had to go to second Monday.
And you're still going?
Yeah, still going. We didn't go for years, you know, until we started selling this. And then Papa enjoys it, though, because all of his kids he taught and friends and all come by and visit. And I like it with Indian jewelry people.
Is there any, all the traveling that y'all did, does anything stand out, like anything?
I don't know, you know, you were talking about that time in Florida. Well, what the deal was, we went to Florida. Well, they were out with the cattle and all, and this Richard Wolf, I don't know if it's his girlfriend or who it was, she was there, and I don't know. She never did want to go anywhere. Well, after I sat there for a couple of days, I thought, I've had enough of this. I'm going home. But I got kind